When do you call Jim Desmond? If you're in a car accident, if you're in a motorcycle accident, that's his specialty. He is sitting to the left of me. I've got lots of questions for him. Jim Desmond, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, John. Good to see you.
I like the fact that, you know, with you, and this isn't true of all attorneys, I'm not going to point at anyone, but you're saying, I'll talk about anything you want. And for you folks, what's really key, if you're in a car accident or a motorcycle accident, you want that communication. Talk about how important that is to you, Jim, and your business.
Well, right off the bat, you need to talk to your client, okay? Because, I mean, again, I've said before, and you've heard me on this show, every car accident's different, all right? So, again, I want to be able to talk to a client and get that point where I can analyze it and say, okay, what is the situation? Or do we have car insurance? What's our backup? I've got a client right now I love to death. Second time I've had her.
All right.
And I'm putting so much work into it, but again, it's because we have somebody who could be uninsured. It's a little complicated because it's a minor who actually hit her. So the question is about signing licenses and everything else, but you don't know that unless you talk to them directly. That's why I give them my cell phone. You know, my kids tease me because my kids have my cell phone, my clients have my cell phone. You know, I'll pick up for both, okay? But in the same respect, it's one of those that, again, you want to talk to your client directly. And, you know, one of the strangest things I think with COVID is that a lot of law firms are going to this remote sign-up.
Sure.
And I just think it's crazy because, again, I would rather go to their house, have a mask on, but again, they get to meet me, we get to see, is there a rapport, can I answer their questions, rather than, oh, here's these forms, sign them. Okay, I promise they're what you need to sign. And that's part of the problem we have right now.
I'm going to talk about some more of the problems.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to go to the attorney fees things yet, but it's one of those.
Yeah, I like I said, that you're an open book and you say, hey, we'll talk about that then, because I think a lot of people wonder, okay, let's be honest. Maybe the reason you make a decision on a certain attorney is because of what they're charging or a fee.
Right.
And everybody wants to keep money in their pocket. It's human nature. We understand you have a family. So let's talk about attorney fees. So how does it work with injury law? If someone is in, let's go ahead and say a car accident, how does the percentage work?
If it's a good personal injury attorney, they're going to charge probably a contingency fee, which says, okay, we get nothing if we don't recover something over here, you owe us nothing, which is good, because like that case I just told you about, I probably have about $200 in the costs and probably $1,300 worth of legal fees already in there that she would have to pay hourly, and she can't do that. She's already without a car. So what happens is at the end, when the case is settled, you charge a fee basically off what your recovery is, all right? I've always charged 1/3 pre-litigation. I have an unwritten policy as well that for any case that doesn't involve a lawsuit, I won't take more as an attorney's fee than you will as a net settlement. Because what clients don't realize, and I've said this before, it's not how much I get you with the right hand, it's how much I get you with the right hand and how much do I keep people out of your settlement with the left hand, okay? So when you're thinking about attorney fees, you not only need to say, how much is that attorney charging? And a lot of these big firms are now going to 40% right off the bat, pre-litigation, and I think it's insane, okay? If it's gonna go to a lawsuit, that's one thing. If it's a medical malpractice, that's one thing. But for a car wreck, you should not be paying 40% pre-litigation. I think it's, well, asinine, okay? There you go, doo-doo land was the last time I used that phrase. Now I'm using asinine, so I'm in trouble again.
No,
but okay. The short story on it again is that you have to, as a consumer, you wanna calculate what's gonna happen at the end. Because you are going to have a health insurance lien. You are going to have attorney fees and costs. You're going to have costs that we expend that'll come back out. That could be anything from a narrative report with a doctor to even $10 for a police report, okay? And unpaid medical. So again, I think as a consumer, you have to start at the end and say, what is it? What is my goal? What I'm hopefully going to get to, and then how do I minimize all those costs coming out? And one right off the bat is the attorney's fee. It should not be at 40%. If you're in a car wreck and you're paying an attorney 40% pre-litigation, I'm sorry, I'm just going to say right up front, it's too much.
That's a lot. Yeah, I'm glad that you're honest. You talked about 40%. I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, but some of the big dogs, some of the bigger firms, is that the ones who charge more?
There's a couple I'm thinking of that I won't say the names of because I'm not going to have your boss call us and say, what Desmond do now? So.
Well, it's not to say they're not good attorneys, but you do have to look at the bottom line, what's coming back in my pocket, and then the higher that percentage gets, of course, yeah.
Well, and that's the thing about it. I mean, okay, if I tell you, again, you have attorney's fees and unpaid medicals and things that are going to come out, you add that 40%. If it's 40% and you're adding those up, you're already getting close to 50% or above. You're going to walk away without the lion's share. That's why I do that unwritten policy, because again, if I don't want a client to walk down the road and say, somebody's, well, how did you do in that car wreck? And they say, Desmond did great, but I got screwed. I don't want that to happen, okay? So again, when that happens, when these medical bills, if I can't get them reduced through health insurance liens or negotiation with chiropractors, that's what you want to do. Is, you know, if you have to reduce your attorney's fee, fine. Do I ask clients for something afterwards? Yeah, Google review. Give me a Google review. It helps 20-fold. So
that's how you built your business.
I have, yeah. I've had a lot of great clients. They've had the same. That cell phone's been the same number for 15 plus years. I've had a lot of repeat clients. They're good people. I can't complain.
All right, and Jim Desmond, let's talk. We talked about communication. We talked about the fact that you take a less percentage, okay, on the award. So let's talk about other advantages of calling Desmond Law Office. What would you tell people if you say, okay, why should I come to you? You've already mentioned a couple of them.
They deal with me directly from day one. I think that's hugely important.
It is.
Like on that other case I just told you about, again, we've been talking 2 or 3 times a day because in the beginning, we've got to try to figure that out. And it's one of those that, again, it's to me, that's important because when you get in a car accident, you don't know what's happened. You don't know the law. You get a whole lot of bad information from friends, inexperienced adjusters, people who've been in an accident before. I say, again, you need to talk to your attorney directly. And if that means we have to go through and have a bunch of phone calls or we sit down several times, fine. Go back to the contingency fee. I always think this is funny because I'll get people call me and they'll say, I'm mad with this attorney. Okay, I want to let him go. And I'm like, okay, well, first step, go tell them you want to meet with them again. You're paying that same 1/3 or 40% no matter what, no matter how many times we meet with you. Make the guy sit down with you for 30 or 40 minutes and go through and say, well, this is where we're at. This is where we're hoping to get to. This is our game plan. Because again, I mean, car wrecks are not fun. We know that. And the worst part about a car wreck that everybody that doesn't understand, everybody wants to say, oh, you're just after this, you're just after that. System only allows you to do one thing, get money. And immediately you're already in the hole if you think about it, because what are you doing? You suffered damages. What are your damages? Your car's been damaged. Okay, it's got to be fixed. Even if it's fixed, it has a reduced value. You're without a rental car probably for a while. Pain and suffering, medical bills, taking time off from work to be able to do treatment. I mean, those are all things that kind of go into it. And again, I think it's important that you can get hold of your attorney and say, hey, this is what I want. This is what I'm experiencing, and this is your game plan to make that work.
Not to be repetitive, but you said something there that really resonates with me. You said you're giving up, in the case of the big law firms, 40% anyway. So if you're not clear on what he's doing, it doesn't cost you anymore to say, I need to sit with you, I want to talk with
Absolutely.
you. And you're saying they won't have to ask you that because you want to make sure they have peace of mind of knowing the direction you're taking their case.
Right, and that's the thing is, and again, I mean, and as a good attorney, there are a lot of good attorneys in Louisville.
Sure.
Don't misunderstand me. I like little guys, I don't like big law firms. Anybody who knows me knows that. But there's a lot of good attorneys that absolutely, they'll just say, you know, if you're getting a bunch of phone calls and if we're going over the same information, sit down, let's go through this. You know, let's make sure a client knows where it goes. Because again, the bad information I hear all the time, it's ridiculous.
God forbid that you're ever in a car or motorcycle accident, but if you are, okay, Jim, let's talk about the process. You know, you got a magnet up on your refrigerator with a Desmond Law Office on it, but you know, when you're in a car accident, you're not thinking clearly. Obviously, you may be physically hurt. You know, you're in panic mode. So, how do they remember to call you, Jim?
Well, hopefully, my clients have saved my number and vice versa.
Let's do it.
I literally have, you know, like I said, I've had that number for 15 years. How do they remember to call me? You know, you can
put it in your
Google me.
wallet, put it in your purse, be ready.
Be ready. Desmond is, you know, I always use Desmond rather than Jim for anything I sign, so my clients will remember. But yeah, usually I've had experience with other clients. They keep my number. They've been good enough to call me over the years with family. I had a lady do it over the weekend. We're Facebook friends, and her niece went to somebody else, and that was fine. But again, you know, I was there, and we, you know, talked about whether she wanted to do this or not.
You helped her.
Yeah, so it's fine.
That's what it's about. All right, Jim Desmond, I'm curious though, can you practice here? Obviously you practice in Louisville, can you practice across the river as well?
I can. I'm licensed in both states.
All right, I'd love to hear that. All right, Desmond Law Office, once again, let's put the information up on the screen. He is Jim Desmond. That number, really do write that down. If you like some of the answers that he supplied for you, he's going to stay in touch with you. He's going to let you know the game plan. Then that number, 609-7657, 609-7657, that is Jim Desmond. Jim, always enjoy my time with you, my man.
John, you too. Very much so.
All right.
Thanks for having me.